Hey, 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 Laura J. Making myself some instant coffee today because it's super good for me. Not, it's a habit. But you want to know what else is a habit for me? Being myself authentically, even when other people don't like it so much. Teaching from the heart definitely stirs the pot of many who do not want to actually go into the steam of all that has been masquerading as truth in their realities. But I dare to do it anyway because I can't help myself, or I could maybe, but I don't choose to because I believe stirring the pot can actually help others more than trying not to. And could I have done what I have tried to do for the last many years better? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we do the best that we can with what we know while we're going through the motions of our own life, too. So I'm going to just say thank you to myself for continuing to be authentically me, even when others didn't see the value of that. I'm going to say that I have been excluded or kicked out of a lot of experiences, and each time it shattered a part of my identity, a part of my ego. I no longer got to be a volunteer at Why Not Youth Center in 2019 because I would bring oracle cards or a book called The Gift of Imperfection by Brene Brown, or The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I would tell the kids that were there to use book medicine and flip to the page that they could then read and gauge how much it resonated with where they were at. And if it didn't, that's fine. And if it did, great. But ultimately, it was just an offering and an opportunity to just kind of give them tools I thought would benefit them. And the crazy thing to me was that it wasn't so crazy, in fact, but it was more upsetting because I was basically asked by the coordinators to start my own thing because their organization had actually started as a Christian ministry. And so what I was doing did not align with what they believed was valuable. So they basically said I wasn't able to continue volunteering there after many months. And as part of that, I had also started doing a lot of DMT trips with the shaman to get my breakthrough, which I got through a breakdown after the fact, which totally turned my world upside down. So they weren't wrong to ask me to go elsewhere. I wasn't telling the youth about the DMT ceremony specifically, but I was also not hiding it publicly in my YouTube channel, which they didn't necessarily know that I had, but they might have. And what I can honestly say is at the time I was turned away from volunteering there, it really shattered my identity and sense of self-worth because I couldn't even volunteer where I could add value and knew that I was based on the questions that the kids were asking me, not that they were kids, but the young adults, the future leaders that were coming to me to say, Laura, any chance do you know anything about entities or ghosts? Because some of these people were encountering that and had no one to talk to about it who weren't going to deem them crazy. And there was one girl, absolutely beautiful inside and out, who basically told me that her mom wanted to put her onto medication for bipolar because she was too emotional. And she also had a tremendous amount of trauma that was stored inside of her body. And ultimately, I didn't agree with medication as the solution to emotional problems. But I was also in a situation where I didn't want to overstep the bounds and I didn't fully understand it. So then, months later, when I got locked up and the diagnosis of spiritual path applied to one who must die in order to receive the gnosis of someone else's belief system that we then act as the host for, that being then when we become the ghost in our own lives. This experience really helped me see that what I had thought before, I still felt, which was when it dropped to the heart and below to stir the pot of emotions, So that young woman, I have no idea what happened to her, because after I was no longer welcome to volunteer there, I didn't speak of my experience having done so, nor why I stopped. And I wonder if any of the young ones who were in attendance there that noticed I no longer attended wondered why. And I didn't try to defy the request, and certainly didn't know what to do with the recommendation of starting my own equivalent. But now, with the gender war being the genre of drama we're acting out through our sexual expression as the fixation and focus to keep us motivated by lower level needs for survival and safety and belonging at the expense of respect and self-actualization, I want to just frame it from the perspective that if we have to change ourselves in order to fit the box that we're trying to get the label of, there's something wrong with having to conform our substance to fit into a limited form. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope so. And I hope this message is a way of saying, when we're different, when we have ideas that don't fit in those boxes that an organization, corporation, institution, or friend circle are trying to promote, we are often the ones that are thrown out and told to go start our own thing where our rules can apply. Because that is what a constitution is for a corporation, for instance. Even if it is the de facto government that is imposing their rule over factories and factory employees, which we believe we are just because we've been told that suit is the uniform we must take on in order to benefit from what is awarded to those who take on a status that changes our standing in matters, if we don't realize the very great difference between standing and status. Just as sex and gender are implied to be the same but are not, it is very akin, and I can go deeper into it, but then I also know that thresholds are where we shut off and don't have capacity for more. So I'm going to say that for today, this is enough, and I'm going to get to meet young ones that came through my brother and his wife that I am so excited to get to hang out with today when they're visiting. So with all of this, I will simply say, leave a comment down below to let me know what this message means to you, for you, and what you're going to do with it. And know that you are loved even if you are not loved in all places. Not everyone can handle the activations your energy brings out and up in them. And that's okay. We're not for everyone. So we can be a cup of tea for one, but we can be a shot of whiskey for another. Let's have some fun. Maybe without the alcohol, which are spirits, but besides the point.